Imagine this: you're moving along in life, doing what you think is right, making plans, envisioning outcomes, and then wham! A challenge hits you, a hurdle, a brick wall you didn't see coming. Suddenly everything feels like it's come to a screeching halt. But listen closely, this isn't life holding you back. It's life asking you to change direction, nudging you, sometimes shoving you onto a path you may not yet see or understand. Every single challenge, every obstacle that throws you off your feet, it's not a setback, it's a divine redirection. This is life, this is the universe pointing you somewhere else, guiding you towards something greater if you'll allow it. I'm talking about a higher purpose, a calling, a reason that sits somewhere beyond what you can see right now. And if you can open yourself to that, if you can see every setback as a signpost, you're already halfway there. Let's dig into that, because this is important. Think of a time when you faced what seemed like an insurmountable obstacle, something that really shook you. Maybe it was the loss of a job, the end of a relationship, or an unexpected health scare. In those moments, the pain, the frustration, the fear can feel so overwhelming. But now imagine that this experience, painful as it was actually a blessing in disguise. Imagine that it was life rearranging things, clearing out the old so something better could come in. Sometimes it needs to shake you up, to reroute you onto an entirely different path, to show you that there are new roads to explore, new destinations waiting. This isn't just theory, let's make it real. Picture yourself hiking up a mountain. You're pushing, you're giving everything you've got, but you hit a boulder you can't climb. The path is blocked. Now, one option is to sit there and curse the mountain, to resent the path, to sit down in defeat. But another option, a powerful one, is to see that maybe the boulder is there for a reason. Maybe it's there to push you to take a different trail, one that might lead to an even more breathtaking view. Challenges are like that boulder on your path. They're not trying to stop you, they're redirecting you. But it takes the willingness to look beyond the immediate struggle and ask, what am I being shown here? What could this be opening me up to? It's in that question, what am I being shown, that the magic lies. You know, sometimes life doesn't give you what you want, not because you're not worthy, but because there's something far better that's waiting for you. And it takes that obstacle, that setback, to clear the way. It's like the universe saying, you're meant for more than you've planned for yourself, but here's the catch: you have to be open to seeing it, to believing that there's a purpose in the redirection. I want you to let go of this need to control every step, to always know the why behind what's happening. This journey we're on, it's not about understanding every twist and turn as it happens. It's about trusting that there is a design at play, that the challenges we face are leading us somewhere meaningful. Take a look at some of the most incredible stories you've ever heard of people overcoming impossible odds. Think of anyone who has changed the world in some way, who's left a mark, a legacy. They all faced setbacks, every single one of them. But what separated them was that they saw those setbacks as part of the path, as essential steps in their journey. They understood that the obstacle wasn't an ending, it was a new beginning, a powerful redirection. Let me ask you something. Where in your life could you be seeing a challenge as an opportunity? Where might life be calling you to grow, to expand, to take a leap of faith? And don't brush this off. Really take a moment to let that question settle. Think about an area where you've been struggling, feeling defeated. Now imagine that struggle as a door. Not a closed door, but one that's just beginning to open. What if, instead of resisting it, you chose to walk through it? It's all about perspective. You can choose to look at a challenge and say, why is this happening to me? Or you can look at it and say, what's the gift here? What am I being guided toward? That shift, going from seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances to seeing yourself as someone being led to something greater, is the difference between staying stuck and stepping into the life you're meant to live. So the next time you hit a wall, the next time something goes wrong, I want you to remember this. It's not a setback, it's a setup. A setup for something more aligned, something richer, something with deeper meaning. And yes, it may require patience, it may require strength you didn't know you had. But when you look back, you'll see that every detour, every obstacle was exactly what you needed. And listen to this carefully, what's meant for you will not pass you by. The universe, life, it has a plan. It's just that sometimes that plan requires you to be rerouted to take a path you hadn't planned on. But if you stay open, if you stay curious, that new path could be the one that leads you to your greatest self. In these moments of challenge, remember, you're being redirected, not rejected. You're being guided, not abandoned. And if you can embrace that, if you can truly let that idea take root, then every obstacle, every setback becomes a stepping stone. Imagine this: we go through life, often reacting to the things around us, the weather, the news, the way someone looked at us in a meeting, the state of the economy, all these outer circumstances we let seep into our mind, shaping our mood, our energy, even the belief we hold in our own abilities. But here's the truth: none of that, none of what's happening out there defines the power you hold within. See, motivation doesn't come from having everything line up perfectly outside. It doesn't arise when the skies are clear and the world smiles at you. No, true motivation is a fire, and it's lit from within. It's created, cultivated, and sustained inside of you, regardless of the storm raging outside. Let's go deep into that. Because here's what I want you to see: if you're waiting for the world to behave a certain way before you feel motivated, you'll be waiting forever. Life is going to throw all kinds of things at you, some of them beautiful, yes, but some of them messy, chaotic, unpredictable. You can't rely on any of it to spark or sustain your motivation. Because real motivation, the kind that lasts, is born inside, independent of what's happening on the outside. Think of it like this: you're a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't turn off just because a storm rolls in. It doesn't waver when the winds are howling or the waves are crashing against it. No, it keeps shining steady and strong because its purpose isn't to reflect what's going on around it. Its purpose is to shine a guiding light to stay resilient. And just like that lighthouse, you have to create your motivation from within. You have to let it be unwavering, unshakable, no matter what storms come your way. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what about when life is just too much? Maybe the bills are piling up, maybe relationships are strained, or health challenges appear. Yes, those things are real, and they can be difficult. But even in the face of those challenges, you have a choice. You can either let those external things control you, dim your light, or you can hold steady, let the power come from within, and rise above them. Here's a secret: power and peace come from within. They're not things you wait to get from the world. They're things you cultivate inside, no matter what's happening out there. In every moment, you have a wellspring of strength, creativity, and resilience waiting to be tapped. It's there, but to access it, you have to stop letting outside circumstances dictate who you are and what you're capable of. I want you to imagine a small, calm lake. Now, if you look at the surface of that lake, it might be rippled by the wind, disturbed by the weather, but beneath those surface ripples lies something still, deep, and undisturbed. That's where your true power lies. It's below the surface, beyond what's visible to the eye. But here's the magic: you can reach it anytime you choose to look within. Let me tell you something: when you can look at life's challenges, look them squarely in the eye and say, I'm still here, my purpose is still here, you unlock a whole new level of strength. You go beyond motivation that depends on everything going your way. You tap into a self-sustaining power, a force that says, no matter what's happening out there, I am in control of what happens within me. Here's a little story for you. I remember meeting someone once who had gone through an incredible number of hardships, things that would break most people. But this person, they carried a light, a peace about them that didn't match the chaos they'd experienced. So I asked, how do you keep going? And they looked at me with this knowing smile and said, I learned that if I waited for the world to calm down, I'd never be calm. So So I learned to find my calm inside. That was a life-changing moment for me, and I hope it is for you too, because the power to be calm, the power to be motivated, the power to rise above, it's all within you. It's waiting for you to stop looking outside and start looking inside. Right now, I want you to try something. Think about an area in your life where you feel like you're waiting. Waiting for conditions to improve, waiting for someone else to change, waiting for circumstances to shift so that you can finally take that step, feel that energy, that motivation you've been hoping for. Now I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and realize that all the energy, all the motivation, and all the power you've been waiting for is already here inside you. See, your life's journey isn't about what's happening to you, it's about how you're responding to it. If you make the choice to find your power within, to let go of needing everything outside to be perfect, you become unstoppable. Imagine this: you're standing at the edge of your dreams, staring down a road that seems riddled with obstacles. The path you're looking at feels cluttered, maybe even impossible. But let me tell you something powerful right now. Those obstacles only look that way because you're not focusing on what's beyond them. You're focusing on the problems, not the purpose. When you have a big enough vision, a purpose that fuels you, all those challenges in your way shrink. Suddenly, they're not towering roadblocks, they're just little steps on the journey. Purpose is a magnifying glass, but it doesn't make the obstacles bigger. It makes your dreams, your goals, your vision so expansive that everything else just fades into the background. Think about this: if you're climbing a mountain and you're focused only on every rock, every ridge, every dip in the path, it's going to feel hard. Every obstacle becomes the center of your attention. But if you keep your eye on the peak, if you let the vision of the summit drive you, those rocks become part of the adventure. They're just steps you take on the way to your greater purpose. Your purpose isn't just a nice to have, it's the fuel in your tank, the reason you keep going when things get tough. When you really connect to that purpose, when you get clear about why you're doing what you're doing, it's like flipping a switch. The problems don't disappear, but they lose their power over you. They don't become reasons to stop, they become reasons to grow. Now let's bring this home a bit. Every one of us has been there. We start on a new path, and at first we're energized, we're ready. But sooner or later, something happens, a door slams shut, a plan goes sideways, someone says no. And right there, that's the fork in the road where most people give up. Why? Because they lose sight of the purpose. They let the problem become bigger than their vision. But not you, not today, not after you understand this. Imagine your life like a movie. Think of any great movie you've watched. There's always a hero, right? And the hero always faces obstacles. Imagine if in the middle of the movie, the hero just sat down and said, you know what, this is too hard, I'm done. No one would watch that movie. Because the hero's journey requires challenges. Those challenges shape the hero, refine them, test them, push them to become more than they were at the start. And in your life, you are that hero. Your purpose is your storyline, and the obstacles, they're just plot twists. Let's make this real. I want you to think of one challenge in your life that feels huge right now. Maybe it's something at work, maybe it's a personal goal you've been struggling with, or maybe it's a dream you're afraid to even start on because it feels too big. Now, instead of looking at that challenge as a roadblock, I want you to ask yourself, how does this fit into my bigger purpose? Think about that. Really take it in. Once you have that sense of purpose, that reason why, every obstacle becomes just a chapter in the story, not the whole story. You're not here to be stopped by obstacles, you're here to move through them, to transform them into stepping stones. And you know what? Every time you overcome one of these obstacles, you're becoming stronger, wiser, more equipped to live out that purpose. Here's a truth to hold on to. You're never given a challenge that isn't meant to elevate you in some way. Life doesn't throw these things at you because you're not ready. It gives you these challenges because they are the exact lessons, the exact experiences you need to grow into your purpose. And sometimes purpose doesn't show up in a neatly wrapped package. Sometimes it's only after you've moved through the challenge that you look back and think, now I see why that had to happen, but you don't need to see the whole plan to stay motivated. You just need to trust that every step you take, every obstacle you overcome is moving you toward that vision. Take a moment right now to envision your purpose. I'm talking about the biggest, most inspiring version of your purpose, the kind that gives you chills, that makes you feel like your heart is expanding. Maybe it's to create something amazing, to help others, to live a life of meaning. Whatever it is, let it fill you up. Let it be so big in your mind, so clear that everything else starts to feel small by comparison. Because here's the thing, when you stay focused on the purpose, the problems lose their power. They're still there, sure, but they don't have that grip on you anymore. You become like a river, flowing around rocks, finding ways to keep moving forward, no matter what. That's the kind of resilience that purpose gives you. Let me give you an example. Think of someone like Thomas Edison, a man who failed thousands of times before he created the light bulb. Thousands. But he wasn't focused on the failures, he was focused on his vision. He saw every failed attempt as a stepping stone, a way to learn, to adjust, to grow. His purpose was bigger than his problems, so he kept going. Or think about Mother Teresa. Her work was daunting, overwhelming even, but her purpose kept her going. Her purpose made the obstacles feel like they were part of something bigger, something that transcended the challenges. And here's what's amazing, you don't have to be Thomas Edison or Mother Teresa to have that same power. You have it in you right now. You have a purpose, and that purpose has the power to turn every single obstacle into a stepping stone. So the next time you feel blocked, the next time life throws a curveball, remind yourself my purpose is bigger than this. Let that be your mantra. Let that be what you come back to when things feel tough. Because when you let your vision be the guiding star, everything else falls into place. It's like putting on a new set of glasses. When you look at life through the lens of purpose, everything changes. You stop seeing obstacles as things to fear, and you start seeing them as things to embrace. They're part of your growth, part of your journey. Right now, make a commitment to your purpose. Let it be the reason you get up in the morning, the reason you keep going even when things get hard. Let your purpose be so big, so clear, that nothing can shake you. Not fear, not doubt, not even failure, because when you're anchored in purpose, you're unstoppable. You're resilient. And you're on a path that's moving you closer and closer to the life you're meant to live. Remember, every challenge, every obstacle is just a step on the path, not the end of the road. Let's get right into it. Your growth, your transformation, the very evolution of who you're meant to be, it all lies just beyond what feels comfortable. And I know it sounds simple, but if you really let it sink in, it's one of the most profound truths of life. The things that stretch you, that make you uneasy, those moments when you feel like you're stepping out on a shaky ledge, that's where the magic happens. Growth doesn't wait for comfort, it waits for courage. See, we're wired to want ease, to seek safety, to stay right where it feels familiar and cozy. But here's the thing, comfort is not where you find expansion. Comfort is not where you find your true self. Your growth, it's patiently waiting in the discomfort, just a little bit beyond what feels manageable. I want you to hear this discomfort isn't there to break you. It's there to expand you, to open you up in ways that you may not even be able to imagine yet. Think of a time in your life when you were pushed beyond what you thought you could handle. Maybe it was a time when you had to take on a new role at work, or you had to start over in a new city, or maybe you had to let go of something or someone you thought you couldn't live without. Did it feel comfortable? Probably not. But look back now, really look back and see what that experience did for you. Did it make you stronger, wiser? Did it introduce you to a part of yourself you didn't even know was there? Here's the truth: growth isn't something that happens by accident. It's not something that falls into your lap while you're binge watching TV, feeling safe and secure. Growth happens when you willingly step out, when you face the things that make you uneasy, the things that make you question yourself. It's in the fire, in the struggle, in the moments that make you want to turn around and run. But I'm here to tell you, those moments, they're not a threat. They're a gift. They're calling you forward into who you are meant to become. Imagine a caterpillar. It lives a life that's all about crawling on the ground, staying low. But when it's time to transform, when it's time to step into the next version of itself, what does it do? It weaves a cocoon, a dark, tight space that restricts it, that doesn't feel anything like the comfort it knew. And in that uncomfortable cocoon, in that strange, confining place, it transforms. It turns into something unrecognizable from its old self. That's what discomfort does for you. It's the cocoon for your metamorphosis, and you can't bypass it. You have to enter it, sit with it, and let it do its work. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, I don't like discomfort, and I don't want to be in situations that make me feel small or vulnerable. But here's the thing: discomfort is a signal. It's life nudging you, saying there's more to you than you're allowing yourself to see. And I know leaning into that discomfort, it's not easy. It requires a kind of surrender. It requires faith that what's waiting on the other side is worth it. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you did something that truly challenged you? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. When was the last time you pushed past that wall of discomfort, that voice that said, this is too much, this isn't for me? Because every time you do, you add another layer of strength, of resilience to your being. You expand into the person you're meant to be. And let's talk about fear for a moment, because fear and discomfort, they're partners. They show up together. When you feel that discomfort, it's often because fear is whispering in your ear, telling you all the reasons you should turn back. But here's a little secret: fear is just a signal that you're on the edge of something significant. It's a compass pointing you toward your growth. Don't let it be the thing that stops you, let it be the thing that fuels you. Think about it: each time you lean into discomfort, you're creating a new version of yourself. You're rewriting what you thought you were capable of, stretching into a self that's not limited by what feels easy. And the beauty of this process is that every time you face discomfort, you get a little stronger. You build resilience, you develop a new depth. It's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes to step into the unknown. Let me share something personal here. There was a time in my life when I had to confront something deeply uncomfortable, something I didn't want to face. It was the fear of being seen, of sharing my true self with others. I worried about judgment, about rejection. But when I finally leaned into that discomfort, when I stopped hiding and allowed myself to be vulnerable, something amazing happened. I realized that the discomfort was never there to break me. It was there to show me what I was made of, to bring me closer to my truth. So I want you to do something radical. I want you to start viewing discomfort as an invitation, a calling to go deeper, to step into a new version of yourself. Instead of avoiding it, I want you to walk right up to it, to shake its hand, to welcome it as a friend. Because every time you do, you'll find that the discomfort becomes a little less scary. It becomes a guide, a partner on your journey. Take a moment now, think about an area in your life where you're feeling resistance, where you're holding back because it feels too difficult, too daunting. What would happen if you leaned in? What would happen if instead of retreating, you moved forward? Imagine the version of you that lies on the other side of that discomfort, the version of you that's stronger, more resilient, more capable. That version of you is waiting, but you have to be willing to step into the unknown. And remember, this is a process. You don't have to dive headfirst into every fear, every challenge all at once. Growth is gradual. Take it one step at a time. Each small act of courage builds upon the last. Today, you take a single step into discomfort, and tomorrow that step has made you just a little bit bolder. This is how transformation happens, one choice at a time. So lean in. Let the discomfort be your teacher, not your enemy. And when you do, you'll find that the very thing you feared, the very thing that made you want to turn back, is the thing that's carrying you to your greatness. Imagine this: you're facing a difficult moment. Something just came crashing down. Maybe it's a job loss, a breakup, or an unexpected twist that seems to throw everything off course. Now, the instinct in moments like these, when life shakes us up, is to ask, why is this happening to me? We've all done it, but I want you to pause for a moment and instead ask a different question. Try asking, what is this teaching me? Because the truth is, every challenge, every single one, carries within it the seeds of growth. Every difficult moment is a teacher if you're willing to see it that way. Think about this: life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every challenge is a gift, wrapped in an experience that may not look like a gift at first. But if you can shift your mindset, if you can stop looking at the obstacle as something that's there to trip you up and start seeing it as something that's come to teach you, you've unlocked the most powerful secret to resilience and growth. And here's the beauty of it: once you see challenges as teachers, life becomes a series of classrooms. Every setback is a lesson, and every lesson moves you closer to your best self. See, it's not about avoiding challenges, because that's impossible. Life will give us all sorts of things we don't expect, things that might look like they're holding us back. But instead of resisting, what if you looked at each one as a stepping stone? Each challenge has the potential to shape you, to mold you, to prepare you for what's coming next. Sometimes the path to becoming who you're truly meant to be is littered with these little obstacles. They're not there to stop you, they're there to teach you how strong you really are. Now, let's get real about this. Think of a difficult time you faced in your life. Maybe it's fresh in your mind, or maybe it was something that happened years ago. At the time, it probably felt overwhelming, painful, like the last thing you wanted. But looking back now, can you see how it taught you something? Can you see how that experience left you stronger, wiser, maybe even a little more compassionate? That's the gift of perspective. And it's only by shifting your mindset, by asking, what is this teaching me, that you can get to that place of wisdom, even in the midst of the struggle. I'll tell you something powerful: your life isn't shaped by what happens to you, but by how you interpret what happens to you. When you choose to see the lessons, when you ask, what is this teaching me? You change the entire story. You take back the power. Instead of life throwing you around, you become the one steering the ship, learning and growing with every wave. And here's a little secret about life: it keeps giving you the same lessons until you learn them. Ever notice that? The same types of people, situations, and challenges seem to keep showing up, almost like life is saying, okay, here's the lesson again. And it'll keep showing up until you stop, take a deep breath, and look that lesson in the eye. Because as soon as you learn it, life moves you forward. Let me give you an example. Let's say you keep finding yourself in relationships where you don't feel valued or respected. You could ask, why does this keep happening to me? But what if instead you ask, what is this teaching me? Maybe it's teaching you to value yourself more. Maybe it's a lesson in setting boundaries and honoring yourself first. And the moment you learn that, you step into a new kind of energy. Suddenly, the same situations don't keep repeating because you've grown beyond them. Life has a funny way of bringing you just what you need to evolve. It's like you're in a dance with the universe, and sometimes to move forward, you need to stop and let the universe lead. Challenges are just moments when life is nudging you, asking you to step in a new direction, to learn something new about yourself, about life. So next time you're facing one, I want you to ask yourself, what is this teaching me? This simple question can transform any experience from something painful to something powerful. Let's try a little exercise. I want you to think of a recent challenge. Maybe it's something that's still weighing on you, something that's hard to shake. Now, instead of going back to why me, shift your focus. Ask yourself, What is this teaching me? Sit with that for a moment. Notice the answers that come up. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's showing you the need to let go of control, to allow things to unfold in their own time. Or maybe it's a reminder to trust in yourself, to have faith that you can handle whatever comes. Remember, we're not here to have a perfect life without obstacles. We're here to learn, to grow, to become our best selves. And often it's the challenges, the struggles, the moments that seem hardest that become the greatest teachers. And here's the beauty in all of this: as you learn, as you grow, you're actually helping those around you too. Because when you face a challenge with courage, with the willingness to learn, you're not just doing it for yourself. You're inspiring others, showing them what's possible. You become a lighthouse, shining a path for others to follow. So ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? Embrace the lessons, because each one is guiding you closer to the person you're meant to be. And remember, every time you face a challenge, you're not just overcoming it, you're growing through it, transforming through it. And that's where the real magic happens. Imagine you're standing face to face with a problem, a real difficult challenge. Maybe it's something you didn't expect, something that's testing you. Now, ask yourself this: what energy are you bringing to this situation? Because here's a simple truth that can change everything. The energy you bring to a problem is the energy it gives back to you. Show up with courage, gratitude, and belief, and watch what happens. Watch how your challenge begins to respond in kind. Let's break this down because it's so essential. Picture that every challenge, every difficulty is like a mirror. It reflects back whatever you bring to it. If you bring fear, frustration, resistance, that's what you'll get. But if you bring courage, if you bring patience, and most importantly, if you bring gratitude, you change the entire dynamic. Now you're working with the problem, not against it. And that shift, it's powerful. Think about it like this: when you show up with a sense of courage, you're telling the universe, I'm here, I'm ready for this. You're not hiding, you're stepping up. And courage, real courage, is an energy that can't be ignored. It's not just the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that something else, your growth, your purpose, your journey, is more important than the fear. When you bring that kind of courage, that strong, grounded energy, even the hardest problems start to soften, to shift. And what about gratitude? Now, I know that may sound strange, being grateful in the face of a problem, but let me tell you, gratitude is a game changer. When you bring gratitude to a challenge, you're telling life, I see this as part of my journey. I accept it. I am willing to learn from it. And that energy, that willingness to be grateful, even when things aren't easy, it opens doors. Suddenly, the problem doesn't feel so heavy. You're no longer seeing it as an enemy, but as a teacher. And a teacher deserves gratitude, doesn't it? Now let's talk about belief. This is so important. When you show up to a challenge with belief, not necessarily knowing how, but trusting that somehow, some way you'll get through it, you set yourself up for success in ways you can't even imagine. Belief is that little voice that says, I don't know the way, but I'll find it. It's the courage to trust in something bigger than yourself. When you approach a problem with that kind of faith, that deep inner trust, your whole energy shifts. You're no longer shrinking from the problem, you're expanding into it. See, the truth is, every problem, every challenge is energy. And energy is magnetic. It attracts whatever you send toward it. So if you're bringing fear, doubt, or negativity, guess what? That's what you'll get back. But bring courage, gratitude, and belief, that challenge starts to look different, feel different. It becomes less of a wall and more of a stepping stone, less of an obstacle and more of an opportunity. Let me share a story to bring this home. Imagine someone loses their job, a sudden unexpected change. Now, they could easily slip into fear, anger, blame. That would be natural. But imagine instead that this person chooses to bring gratitude to the situation. They decide to be thankful for what the job taught them, for the skills they gained, for the relationships they built. They bring belief, trusting that something better is coming, even if they can't see it yet. and they show up with courage, ready to face what's next. That energy they're bringing, it's powerful. It's like planting seeds in fertile soil. And soon enough, doors start to open. Maybe a new opportunity, a dream they'd put on hold starts to come alive. That's how energy works. The energy you bring to a situation can transform it in ways you might never predict. So I want you to think about this. What's a challenge in your life right now? And how are you showing up to it? Are you coming with fear and resistance, or are you bringing courage, gratitude, and belief? Because the way you show up will shape the way that challenge unfolds. Remember, problems don't define you. How you respond to them does. You know, life is a dance of energies. And every problem, every difficulty is just one step in that dance. When you bring the right energy, you change the rhythm. You're no longer pushed and pulled by the problem, you're flowing with it, moving in harmony. And that's the beauty of it. You're not just solving problems, you're growing through them. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what energy am I bringing here? If it's fear, let it go. If it's frustration, set it down. Bring courage, bring gratitude, bring belief. That's the energy that opens doors. That's the energy that transforms lives. And remember, you're not alone in this. Every challenge, every hurdle is an invitation to rise, to bring the best of yourself, and to discover just how powerful you truly are.